The Grand Prix that we've been eagerly waiting for, the Imola GP, has finally come. However, the team that we've been desperate to see what it brought to this track has delivered disappointing news for the fans, and it seems like we are not going to witness the season that we wanted, competitive with many drivers fighting for the championship. With Mercedes shutting down a potential catch-up to Red Bull in such a quick manner, we're left with crumbles of hope that something will change soon. But what exactly do the Silver Arrows think of the upgrade? And more importantly, is there a light at the end of the tunnel for the 2023 season? Mercedes has started the season with a car that was the polar opposite of 2022. More precisely, it had too strong a front end and a limited rear end, meaning that on tracks that are front end limited, like Melbourne, the performance would be satisfying. But on every other track, the W14 would struggle with generating downforce. That's why the W14 was the slowest car on the track, with open DRS in Baku, where the speed was measured on the main straight, 2.2-kilometer long delta. So even though the porpoising was gone, the 2023 Challenger of Mercedes suffered from some new issues, ones that we hoped Mercedes could fix with the newest and biggest package upgrade in Imola. But as all things stand in Formula 1, performance gains can't be done overnight. If this was possible, Mercedes would have done that in the previous year, meaning that 2022 would have been a season in which Hamilton and Russell would have had the chance to drive a more competitive car and not the troublesome W13. That's in the past, and the future, although not entirely dark, isn't providing more light on Mercedes in terms of fighting for the championship. Before we go into the upgrades of Imola, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, the issues of the W14, and how these upgrades were supposed to fix them and make the W14 competitive again. One major issue that Hamilton and Wolff kept highlighting was a lack of rear downforce, which made the W14 a very slow car on the main straights. The main reason for this was that the car was running too high, as opposed to last year when it was running too low, and the porpoising and bottoming out effect kept happening. But due to the fact that the new generation of cars generates massive amounts of downforce through their floors, they need a new design on the floor that would balance the two versions of the cars Mercedes built in 2 seasons. That's why the new floor will be implemented in Imola, along with the side pod design, which is supposed to fix the aeroflow and the new front suspension, which would allow the W14 to run better on bumpy surfaces and not lose balance. Hamilton has been very vocal about the issues with the W14, saying that with a lack of rear downforce and a narrow cockpit, it feels like he's sitting too close to the front wheels, which is why he is losing momentum and sense in terms of when he should hit the braking point or the apex of the corner. While the cockpit issue is one to be addressed in 2024, the rest of these issues are supposed to be fixed from Imola onwards, with Mercedes bringing another upgrade package to Barcelona and Silverstone. Although the last two aren't the ones that would be as significant as the one in Imola, they definitely have the potential to bolster Mercedes' 2023 Challenger performance even further, something that Hamilton and Russell desperately need. Nonetheless, the expectations for Imola have been lowered by Wolff and Russell, who, although they highlighted the targets for this race, have also said that we shouldn't expect a silver bullet, and something that would make the W14 a race-winning car all of a sudden. When talking about this matter, Wolff went on to add, "We need to manage our own expectations, because we're bringing an update package that's going to consist of new suspension parts, bodywork and some other things. But I have never, in my 15 years in F1, seen a silver bullet being introduced, where you suddenly unlock half a second of performance. So I very much doubt that is going to happen here." Similar thoughts were added by Russell, who went on to add that while everyone expects so much from Mercedes in Imola, the team still finished 30 seconds behind the leaders in Miami, and well behind Alonso. So the upgrade that they need, the one that is supposed to bring them half a second per lap advantage, isn't likely to come in one race. If it was that easy, then we would have seen Ferrari and Aston Martin being much closer to Red Bull, because these two teams had the right philosophy at the beginning of the 2023 season, and with small tweaks, they would have been able to challenge the dominance of the RB19. Nonetheless, Hamilton has also said that he doesn't expect to be that competitive in Imola unless the upgrade of the car gives him a 1 second per lap advantage. This hasn't been seen in the history of the sport, but for all Mercedes fans out there, worry not. If Imola doesn't prove to be the race for the W14, the Brackley-based squad has 17% more time to spend in the aerodynamic facilities compared to the Austrian team, meaning that they will be able to exploit most of the issues that have been causing the W14 to perform the way it did up until this point. We cannot help but note that Mercedes did everything they could properly for the beginning of the 2023 season. They brought back some old faces like James Allison and did a complete reshuffle to their technical staff, making James the CTO again and demoting Mike Elliott to his position before 2021. This has been done because Elliott himself said that he wasn't feeling ready to lead the team as a CTO. So maturity is definitely what Mercedes needs at points like this. But what does Wolff expect that Imola will bring to the table? Obviously, the number one thing that Mercedes did throughout the entire 2022 season was collect data for their car. They are basically throwing all of that away because they are bringing a new design to the car. So Imola will be a race in which Mercedes will restart their pursuit of championship and potentially be able to challenge Red Bull further down the road with the increased time in the wind tunnels. Also, the issues that Mercedes needs to fix are the ones that will definitely set the direction of the team, and finally let them know what should have been done with the concept of the car a long time ago. When talking about the main goals of the upgrade, Wolff went on to add, "I think what we're trying to do with the upgrade is to create a new baseline for us to take question marks and variables out of the equation, and to say, this is not a problem now that we have gone to a different spec, and that is, for example, front suspension. We are also looking at bodywork solutions that are, let's say, more conventional than others, that will create a different airflow. I don't believe in miracles, but I think that the stability of the car and the predictability for the drivers is subpar. If you believe to sort that out, helped by a front suspension redesign, then that's definitely a good avenue, and this could be more than a tenth or two on lap time. But the aerodynamic package brings more from simply unlocking more drivability and pace." There were rumors that the new W14 would look like a combination of the RB19 and the AMR23, and this would make the most sense, because the RB19's superiority, combined with the mechanical parts of Mercedes, would make the 2023's challenger to the Silver Arrows even more competitive. Yet we need to wait for Imola and see what the team has in store. And while there is still hope that we'll have a competitive season ahead of us, time will tell whether Hamilton and Russell have enough in themselves to challenge the superiority of Red Bull. If Mercedes manages to bring a competitive car to the grid, there will be one more problem that they have to fix. Who will be the leader of the team? While Hamilton is a leader now, it's only because Russell struggled with reliability issues back in Melbourne. And in terms of qualifying, the younger Briton has been consistently better than his older compatriot. Russell has been showing signs of taking over the reins at Mercedes, and while Hamilton is yet to prove why he has won 7 championships in Formula 1 with a less competitive car, it seems like Russell is the one enjoying more freedom and extracting more pace out of the W14. All in all, an interesting race lies ahead of us, and while I hope Mercedes will be able to win it and stir up the pecking order, the team's statements were more than clear. There is no silver bullet that would turn Hamilton or Russell into race winners all of the time. Further down the road, who knows, maybe we'll have a proper battle between two drivers who are not from the same team.